Good afternoon, everyone. So today I'm going to take you through tips to reduce stress. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me afterwards and I'll give you all the information for how to find information on this talk afterwards as well. So today I'm going to go through understanding stress and the health implications. I thought it would be quite good to give you a little bit of a background on this, foods that may reduce stress and how a healthy balanced diet will help, and other techniques that support the reduction of stress. So just to start off with another couple of stats, I always find these quite interesting. 74% of the UK have been overwhelmed or unable to cope at some point in the past year. Now, this could be minor or major, but it's it's very high, so quite interesting. Stress then is a significant factor in mental health problems, including anxiety and depression. But what we often don't think of and what is actually related to stress are other problems such as physical health, like heart disease, our immune system becomes depleted, insomnia, so lack of sleep, and digestive problems as well. And these are things that you don't necessarily associate with being highly stressed. So to define stress then, as the statement previously stated, it can affect us physically, emotionally, or psychologically. And it can be either pressure, so you feel pressure and kind of get really or it can actually be pain, so physical pain. Interestingly, things that have happened to you in early life, even as far back as being in the womb, can actually contribute to how we handle stress as an individual. And as resulting of being stressed, we can overeat or undereat. If you're a smoker, you may smoke more or become a smoker, may sort of drink alcohol, trying to relax, but that can make it worse. And, exercise may go out the window as well. So just to touch on the stress hormones, I'm sure you've heard of stress hormones, but what are they and what do they do? So they are found in the adrenal glands, and there are three major ones. The adrenaline, so this is largely responsible for immediate reactions we feel when stressed. It will increase our heart rate and it gives you a real ooh of energy. Norepinephrine, I can't remember how I pronounced it. This is similar to adrenaline, or adrenaline, and it makes you feel more aware. You become more focused, more drive and responsive. It also shifts the blood away from other organs and essential kind of things that can sort of take a little bit of a backseat. So, for example, our muscles or our digestive tract. Cortisol you may be aware of, so this is sort of like a later response. It does help how we respond to stress, but it also has a function in other functions within the body, such as cardiovascular. It helps us to utilize our carbohydrates and fats where the fat is stored, and promotes healthy gastrointestinal function, so it helps our gut. So you can sort of see how if cortisol is being used for stress, how it can affect our other organs and how our body functions. So fight or flight, it's a common term that we have heard of, and this is short-term stress. So this is where the adrenal glands produce hormones, in particular cortisol and adrenaline. They're released into the blood and they will increase, as we learnt previously about the hormones, they'll increase our concentration, and how we can react to things. It will increase the heart rate and help increase our blood pressure to pump everything around the body. And our immune system and memory will become sharper. So this is really short-term stress. It can be a good thing because not all stress is bad, and it's how we cope in sort of perhaps a last-minute project that you really need to reach the deadline and work, to perhaps kind of sprinting towards the end of a 5K run. But when can stress become a problem? So chronic or long-term stress is where we frequently face challenges and our fight or flight is continuously rolling over. It doesn't stop. We constantly produce higher levels of these hormones and we have less time for the body to recover. So from a work perspective, this may be when you have back-to-back projects and it's go, 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 go. There's no rest. So all our hormone levels will be increased. You have no time to kind of go, whew, because you're into the next project. And it also reduces your serotonin. So this helps to regulate our mood, appetite, and digestion. So hopefully you can see where, if these stress hormones are raised frequently for a longer period of time, it can affect other hormones and other regulation or other functions of the body, and then that can have a detrimental effect on your overall health and well-being. So health problems then, so digestive system, we'll gain weight partly because we may be overeating because we want more energy to keep going. However, one thing is to mention, we also potentially could lose weight because we're so stressed that we just forget to eat. Our immune system becomes weakened, and also our nervous system becomes weakened. And so this is when you're maybe more anxious, you maybe get a little bit depressed, you can't sleep, your memory goes. So things like you normally would remember, but it's not in your head, it just goes. And your decision making, you're maybe a little bit more indecisive. We could also have problems with our cardiovascular system. So how do you spot the signs of stress then? So you may be feeling overwhelmed, distracted, worried and anxious. You maybe just feel a lot of pressure that you just can't physically deal with, which may make you overeat, may make you forget to eat. You may be very irritable, so you maybe snap at people when you really don't mean to. It's just you've got other things going on in your head. You may turn to alcohol or smoking as well. If stress lasts for longer, you may also experience other physical and emotional effects. So you just may be really tired, constant low mood, feeling really depressed. The physical impact, you may be getting chest or stomach pains, maybe a little bit shaky. And also you may have irregular periods, impotence may happen, or just an overall loss of libido. So now we move on to how can we impact stress and improve it or control it a little bit more. So as a nutritionist, obviously I will start with food first, but you will have noted I used this slide last week, the Eat Well guide. This is the go-to of how to eat a healthy, balanced diet. If you consume all these food groups in the correct proportions over the period of a day and the period of a week, you should be able to get all the nutrition that you need to stay nice and fit and healthy, to control those hormone levels, just have a healthy balance. So we have our carbohydrates, opt for starchy carbohydrates, whole grains are best, aim for lots of colors of fruits and vegetables, a little bit of protein in meat, fish, eggs and beans, and some milk and dairy as well. The main food principles to reduce or manage stress then on top of the Eat Well guide is we want to be able to stabilize our blood sugar. So again, base your meals around starchy carbohydrates and opt for the whole grain varieties. Yes, this is part of the Eat Well guide and general healthy eating practices, but by stabilizing your blood sugar will also help to control those hormones that if your stress will be pumping into the bloodstream to deal with that stress. Aiming for 5 a day will ensure that you get all the vitamin minerals from your fruits and vegetables. Lots of different colors really helps because the fruits and vegetables all have varying amounts of those nutrients, and 1 portion for you is 1 handful. You also want to start the day with a balanced breakfast. So again, base it around your starchy carbohydrates like porridge, for example, or the whole grain, maybe shredded wheat would be a good example as well. And try to limit the sugary cereal options and caffeine. You should also consume a variety of plant-based and animal protein. So protein is the building blocks, basically. It's needed for the replacement and repair of body cells and tissues. If we are going through stress, we're using more energy, and so our body is working nearly in overtime. So we need to ensure that we're replacing all those organs, our cells and tissues. You should aim for fish twice a week, one of which should be oily, so that's sardines, mackerel, and salmon, and reduce and limit processed and red meat as well. Another thing when you're stressed is to watch your portion size and limit those foods that are high in fat, salt, and sugar. If we are kind of needing or craving more energy to keep us going, those are the foods that you do tend to opt for. Look at the back of pack to find out the portion size, because often there is more than one portion within the packet. And there are always alternative options. The government are pushing an industry to reduce fat, sugar, and salt in a range of foods. So they're being quite clever and offering the alternative. So you can always opt for them as well. So there are also some key nutrients that will help with stress. So vitamin C, so this is an antioxidant, and it is stored in the adrenal glands and helps you to make cortisol. So cortisol isn't bad, even though it is released into the blood when we're stressed, but as you've seen, it has a whole load of other functions. And so vitamin C is found predominantly in your citrus fruits, but in minimal amounts in other fruits and vegetables. So again, just stick to 5 a day, different colors, and you'll get what you need. Magnesium is also dramatically depleted whenever you're feeling stressed. So again, it's really good to keep that topped up. Good sources are dark green leafy vegetables, whole grains, nuts and seeds. But again, if we go back to the Eat Well guide, if you stick to those food portions every day and every week, you can see how you'll be able to get the nutrients that you need. And then again, B vitamins. These are energy releasing vitamins, but they also help to support adrenal function. And they do tend to be more in whole grains, nuts and seeds. Again, our starchy carbohydrate food group of the Eat Well guide. Many of us may turn to alcohol to relieve stress. It may make us feel more relaxed and calmer. However, it may be a short-term fix, but it's definitely not for the long run. Alcohol is a depressant, so it will slow things down. However, only for the short term. It will interfere with our neurotransmitters, and therefore it can potentially affect our mental health, and it can make us feel a little bit depressed. If you're drinking and it gives you a pick-me-up, you could actually become dependent on alcohol, because with that pick-me-up will also come the slump, and therefore you'll think, oh, I'll have another one, and it's a vicious cycle. You would nearly potentially become more dependent on it, like someone who is dependent on alcohol. So as I said, it's no way to deal with stress, and it potentially can really hinder recovery from stress as well. So as we said last week, alcohol, the government recommends that you consume a maximum of 14 units over 3 days. So again, average beer is 4%, would be around 3 units per pint. You have 6 pints of beer and you've maxed out your limit. And I am aware it's very easy to have 6 pints in one night if you're out with friends, especially if you've had a really tough week after work, or kind of just over the weekend. You can really max out your units, and again with that will come the high of, yeah, I'm relaxed, but then the low of kind of realizing that actually it hasn't really fixed anything. So my tip would be, don't use it as a vice to reduce stress, and don't drink every day as well. Exercise is another thing. So remember when we spoke about the fight or flight? So exercise can actually increase our stress hormones. If we're doing really intense exercise, so if you are sprinting towards that 5K run, or you're doing an ultra endurance marathon, marathon man, etc. Your stress hormones, you're putting your body under stress, and so they will be flowing into the bloodstream. And that's not a bad thing. That's our fight or flight, and it's only for the short term. However, if we are continuously stressed, obviously, our hormones will be in our bloodstream, and actually exercise can help in the long run to relieve those stress hormone levels as well. So it does depend on the intensity and fitness level. However, exercise will release the endorphins. So these are the happy hormones, and they will help lift you and hopefully help lift your stress levels as well. Sleep is another one, and a complete vicious cycle where stress is concerned. So stress will adversely affect your sleep quality, and sleep quality will adversely affect your stress levels. So a complete vicious cycle. So this is why sleep is actually very, very important. So to get a little bit sciencey, when we sleep, the brain chemicals connected with deep sleep are those that are the same of those that the body uses to stop the production of stress hormones. If we are not going into the deep sleep, then those stress hormones aren't stopped. And as a result, the next day you feel like you haven't slept properly and you'll be really tired. Again, the cycle of sleep, stress, etc. So how do we maintain good sleep patterns then? I recommend doing something relaxing before you go to bed, listening to calm music, reading, ideally not on an LCD screen, get into a bedtime routine. Set yourself, if you're unable to sleep because your mind is ticking over 90 to the dozen, get up out of bed and go back downstairs into your living room, have a cup of tea, maybe read something or listen to music, and then go back up whenever you feel a little bit more chilled. Also ensuring that your bedroom is really dark and at an ambient temperature will also help. And you should aim to get 7 to 9 hours sleep every night, and children 9 to 14 hours. Other ways to reduce stress then. So breathing techniques are a great way to kind of calm your mind. Just taking a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. You need to practice this, but it really does help just kind of breathing slowly, and it will make you a little bit more calm. Make sure that you take time out. If you have a busy schedule, back-to-back projects with really tight deadlines, your health is vital. If you don't have good health, you're not going to be able to achieve those projects to the maximum capacity that you could. So it's really important that you think of you first, take a step back, use the breathing techniques, go for a walk, just spend time with the family, that will really help you put things into perspective and hopefully de-stress you a little bit. You can also talk to someone as well. So, it could be a family member, your husband, your wife, or it could be someone completely unrelated to the family. Whatever makes you feel more comfortable, but it's really good to release kind of your stress. And also they will be able to see things from a different perspective, and it may help you deal with the stress. It may help you prioritize things as well. I would also suggest splitting up your tasks, and try and plan ahead where possible. I do know that's not always possible in work. Things come in thick and fast, particularly with what we're going through at the minute. No one really knows what to expect, and that everyone wants the answer yesterday. But just try and prioritize. I'm sure there are things that you can push back a little on, and projects that are not just as essential. And then also challenge any unhelpful thoughts. Don't be thinking about these throughout the whole day, allocate a certain time of the day, maybe 15 minutes before dinner, or 15 minutes before bedtime, where you think your thoughts of stress, kind of if you're unhappy or any sort of thoughts, allow yourself that time to think about it and then shut it down after the 15 minutes and move on. So just to finish off, so we have launched our new We Are ESS YouTube channel, and within that channel there are all our wellness sessions. So you will see we have our immune system advice and exercise in lockdown. So all the webinars are now going to be uploaded onto that, and we also have 5-minute sort of video clips that are based on 5 or 6 tips for each of the topics. The leaflets that are associated with each of these topics will also be tied to both the videos and the YouTube clip. I also highly recommend our wider company website, Nourished Life. There's such a wealth of information on this from a wide team of experts, not just on food and nutrition. Do utilize this. It should be your first point of call for anything in terms of well-being. And finally, if you have any nutrition, food, well-being related query that you just want a sounding board on, or you think I may be able to help or point you in the right direction, please do email essnutrition@compass-group.co.uk. Thank you.